which is released by Anthropic. So how exactly we can pass that the context to LLM so that we can use our own tool. As we know that LLM can work on whatever the data that it was trained on, so we'll get that response from that only. We cannot get that recent data from that existing LLM, right? So either we'll have to retrain that model, or we'll have to fine tune that, or we can use the RAG, right, to get that the response as per our need, right? So MCP has created one protocol where the LLM uh, or the agent will communicate with each other and we'll get that response, right? So we'll look into that how exactly MCP is working. So so basically MCP is working as a on the client server model architecture. So there will be an MCP client and MCP server. As we all know, we expose our API. Sorry, expose our API on some port, and then the client create the connections between the for the server and then communicate over the exposed API. Similarly, to communicate uh, through the LLM by MCP client, which are hosted on MCP server. This is the MCP protocol which is recently exposed, right? So you guys can go through this model context protocol, and you can learn all these details, the basic details how exactly it works. So today we are going to see how we can expose our web API on MCP server so that LLM can get that context, pass it to uh, pass it to that particular tool and get that respective response. So there are basically two types of transport being used by MCP protocol. One is a standard input output. We know that like a console application, it's a standard input output. So whatever the context that will pass through that standard input output, we can get that response here itself, right, as a console. But in the real world scenario, like we have a web API and we want to expose it to that uh, end user, so we can expose through servers and even transport over the MCP protocol, and we can expose our endpoints, web APIs on this MCP server. We'll look into how exactly we will implement all this. So to do that, uh, okay, so first of all, let me, yeah, here we have a, I have one Cosmos DB emulator where we have a two database. One is the present monitor DB, another is read model DB, from where we'll actually fetch those details. So uh, we'll see that how uh, this event sourcing mechanism work in the next subsequent sessions, uh, in the next video. So but right now we'll only focus about how exactly MCP is working. So we'll try to fetch these details through that LLM, and LLM will call this through our API and get this result with respect to the specific ID. So, and our service bus is working here on the Docker. Now we'll see how exactly we'll have to expose. So right now we have this endpoints, right? So all these endpoints, you can see it here. Like we have endpoints, correct? We expose our endpoints like this: HTTP, WAPs, REST API. So we expose all these endpoints, but we can add one more annotations over the class like MCP server tool type on this controller class, and on the specific method which we want to expose to MCP client, so that MCP client can pass uh, the request, and then LLM understand with respect to this description that which methods will have to call, right, as per the user request. And how we can do so, first of all, in our controller we'll have to add this model context protocol uh, through the NuGet package, and then in the program.cs Let me go here. We'll have to add MCP server, and right now I'm using all this assembly. So we are getting the tool. So basically there are two types. So one is we can use with tools. You can see it here, right? So we can add one by one tools as well, and otherwise we can use directly assembly. So assembly basically use that reflections, and on the basis of reflection, it first check that which class is have these annotations like a MCP server tool type and the respective methods as well, right? So it will register those there, and that expose as MCP client, sorry, MCP endpoint, so that MCP client can communicate. And here we'll have to map MCP server as well. Now this is the server point, right? And we already know about this one. And there is another way to expose the details instead of so using this approach we can expose our API uh, as a MCP endpoints as well, so that MCP client can communicate, right? And there is another way, like we can expose one class, and here again we'll have to add the MCP server tool type and the same descriptions, right? So MCP server will understand this. Okay, we'll have to expose these details with the set of this description. So LLM will use this description to understand the natural language. Whatever the request that user is asking about, it will understand that on the basis of description and then return the response. Then it will call this method and send that response. Okay, now coming to that our client. So now coming to our client. So here, since we are using SPA, so I have used like here, I have added this as external endpoint for the CQRS, and then added it here. And now let's jump on the client side. Sorry, not here. Yeah. So let me directly go on the client in. Okay, now I have created this OpenAI so that LLM, this is the OpenAI LLM that I'm using, and the model that I'm using is a GPT-4o mini, and this OpenAI key that we'll have to use. So I'm fetching it from that environment variable, and I registered it as a singleton class in the uh, and we will use this class in our front-end applications, right? And now we'll have to use MCP clients, and we'll expose this as a SSE client transport. There are two types of transport we already learned about, that STD, standard input output, and SSE, right? So right now we are exposing it as a SSE client transport, right? Similarly, we can expose it as a STDIO as well, client transport. Now so this client will create, and now here I'm injecting this client, right? MCP client as well as uh, our OpenAI client, right? So here I'm creating all these details, then I'm fetching all these tools. Whatever the tools that we have exposed, we can directly get it from here itself. So once we'll get it, we'll call this client, OpenAI client, with whatever the user is asking about, then, and we pass some details like these are the tools that will pass to LLM, and LLM will understand that okay, then I will have to use uh, these tools to send that response on the basis of the context. So this is all about model context protocol. So we'll see. Let me run it. A little bit slow. We will see this CQRS event sourcing in our next video. I will explain that as well. Okay. Let me directly jump on the user interface. So here is this is a patient ID, right? Let me go here. So right now you can see all these details like a gate by name, gate vitals, gate weather for city. How these details are coming? All these are the uh, MCP server methods exposed by the server, MCP server, as a tool. So with respect to these details, we will whatever the request that we will ask on the basis of context, it will call out of these tools, these web methods, it will call that and then fetch those details from the server. So we'll see it here, right? So let me put the debugger here as well. Let's directly jump it here. Okay, I have already added. So let me ask, give me details, give me details about patient ID. Ah, you can see. Now we can see. So LLM understand that uh, on the basis of this description, it understand that what exactly user is asking about. So it fills all these details and get this. Okay, uh, we'll have to call this tools, right? So and from all this natural language as a question that we have asked on the user interface is based only that ID, specific ID. You can see it here, right? So we'll get that response as well. Send that response. Yeah, you can see. So patient with ID, this one has the following details like a heart rate 0, BMP, blood pressure is 00, CS, and we can get as per our need whatever the response that we want, we can get accordingly. So we can see that all these results here as a contain text. So heart rate you can see here. So we will have to parse it. So as a text we can get it here. So you can see let me ask this question. Give me the current weather uh, for Pune. Give me current weather for Pune. Okay, and let me ask these questions. And we have where is that CQRS weather forecast. So where is that? What is the question that I am asking? Hmm, weather for city. So basically it will should return it here. So I have used two three web method. So I have used this one as well for the demo. I have created all these details. So let's see which one it's calling. So let me uh, see. So from here it's fetching these details like for the specific city and we'll get this response. So here we are getting this all these details. These are the dummy details that we are getting from them. So all these response we will get it from there. So this way we can expose our existing wave to our LLM to get that response on the client using MCP protocol.